Let's discuss managing our money like the 1%. Every single person that I know has a different relationship with money, and when the conversation of money arises, it will elicit different emotions and feelings within them. From the whole spectrum of being worried, ambitious, guilty, hopeful, whatever emotion you can think of, I warrant that that is being felt by someone when money comes up in conversation. And I don't necessarily think that this is wholly decided by how far on the wealth spectrum that they are. I think people equally who are wealthy and those who are not will feel these different emotions within the context of money. And when we also identify who are the top 1%, then in the UK, that would be somebody who's earning either 180k a year in income, or it could be somebody with, say, £3.5 million worth of assets. If they have £3.5 million worth of assets, then to be honest, I don't think it would be very hard to generate 180k a year income, even if passively through returns on those assets. But let's face it, those exclusive individuals who are sitting in the top 1% probably built it up through one of two means. Either they inherited it or they built it. But what is quite interesting is the avenues through which they could build that money. So hypothetically speaking, it is likely to have been a combination of one or more of these. They could have built up and sold businesses. They could have owned multiple properties. They could have invested early into assets or the stock market. Or maybe they have access to trust funds and or inheritance. Now, what's the thing that all of these avenues have in common? The commonality is that they all had money to get started. They had money which was able to make them more of it. And that, my friends, is the reality check, because if you do not have the money behind you to get started, or you do not have a plan in which to create that money for yourself, then chances are you are never going to have the opportunity to get into the 1%. So instead, I think we should stop chasing the 1% and instead flip the narrative to work out how exactly, as the 99, we are going to build ourselves up from the ground. And in order to do this, I would propose a 3-step financial plan that can enable anybody to get started on their financial building journey. And first, what you've got to do is you've got to build an emergency fund. Second, you need to figure out your why. And thirdly, you need to plan out the how. So an emergency fund is 100% essential. We often hear the wealthy are bold with their money, they take risks, they do all of these sorts of things, and they do not worry about the cost up front. They just go with it. And I think the biggest issue with trying to adopt that approach is that if you do not have the finances to fall back on, you don't have the safety net you need to utilize within the worst case scenario. That is exactly what an emergency fund will give you. It will give you peace of mind. So by rule of thumb, generally you will need at minimum a month's worth of your household expenditure. But generally speaking, and also depending on your own personal situations, you probably want to build that out to 3, 6, or even 12 months of your ongoing expenses, just so that you have enough room to feel very secure and have that key quality of security. Next up, you are going to have to define your very own and bespoke version of success. I recommend that you think big and then narrow it down. So for me personally, I want to build wealth to be financially free. I will not bore you with the details of exactly what that means to me. I'll put it on screen, so if you want to pause and read it, then you can. But there are a lot of intrinsic and personal reasons why I myself have the ambition of being financially free. And also another thing I want to add is that your own why may well evolve over time. I know it has done for me and my partner, but generally, if you find that the why is not quite aligned to how you're thinking, or it's not motivating you in the moment, then definitely delve back in and work out exactly, again, how you want to revise that and how it will give you a newfound and increased encouragement to keep up with your wealth building journey. If your why is shallow, then it will not do the job that it is intended for, and it will not be able to motivate you through thick and thin to stay on this path. So make sure whatever you do, and you do not have to share this with another soul if you do not want to, but make sure it is true to you, make sure it is real, and make sure that it honestly does motivate you. The very final thing that you will need to do to follow this 3-step plan is to find your how. Figure out, now that you've got the why, what the steps are that you need to do to unlock the how. And I can really help you get started with this. It is quite a simple matter. Once you have got beyond your emergency fund, start investing some money. This is certainly not about investing in individual stocks or in fact timing the market, and you do not need to be a data cruncher to know what to do. The first step is to get in the right frame of mind and to make sure, again, that you have that security blanket. Then with your additional surplus funds, you can easily part with that money knowing that you have an intention to put it in investments for the long term, and therefore let time do all of that heavy lifting for you. Eventually this will compound and snowball and make you back so much more than you put in. But just know that you need to have that long-term view in mind when you start on this journey. So very quickly, step by step, you will open up a stocks and shares ISA on a trusted platform. You will deposit funds into the account, and you will pick a globally diversified fund or ETF, and then you will set up a payment. It could be one-off, it could be ongoing, whatever suits your purpose and the funds that you have available for this endeavor. It really is as simple as that. And as one very pertinent example, if you had put £20,000 in the FTSE All World All Cap Index Fund 20 years ago, today it would be worth £135,000. So in summary, the key to moving that financial needle is not this very general advice. It is tangible and real steps. So it means defining your goals, documenting them, tracking your progress. And with that, I think I've said my piece on the topic. So yeah, start thinking like the 99% and work your way up from zero, as most of us do not have the benefit of just having that money sitting there and ready to utilize and ready to work for us. So if you want to kind of keep on this track of really bigging you up for the investment journey, then I would definitely recommend that you check out this video. But otherwise, thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next one.